Hi everyone, it's Deja. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I wanted to inspire you all with this DIY felt garland for Valentine's. I used my Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine to cut out all of the felt shapes and words. This video is not a tutorial on how to design in Cricut Design Space or how to cut the materials, but more so a video to inspire you to use your machine to create a cute garland like this. So if you're excited to see how I assembled this together, please keep on watching. Like I mentioned, I used my Cricut Maker 3 cutting machine. You can also use the Cricut Explore series or the Cricut Joy Extra machine using the regular fine point blade to cut out felt. However, this will depend on the type of felt that you are cutting. I am using felt that I already had in my craft room. I am using stiff felt from Cricut, and that is this light pink and red felt. It doesn't bend easily and holds its shape really well. Later, I will use a scoring tool to create a crease here so that I can bend it and turn it into an envelope. The black and dark pink felt is, I believe, from either Hobby Lobby or Walmart, and it's got a different texture to it. It is not stiff and it can bend more easily. You can cut stiff felt using a regular fine point blade, but it is much harder on the non-stiff felt. For that, you will need to use a rotary blade that works only on the Cricut Maker machines. I cut out 6 of these dark pink hearts and will hand sew them together later and fill it up with Poly-fil. I picked up these embroidery or flossing thread at Hobby Lobby for 69 cents each. I will use the white thread to sew along the edges of the heart. You will need some type of twine or cord to create the garland so that you can attach everything to it. You'll also need a basic pack of needles to do the sewing. Going back to this black felt, this is a non-stiff felt, so it's really flimsy. I do recommend that if you want to cut out scripty words or any words, it's better to use stiff felt. This is completely optional, but I have this fabric stiffening spray that I use primarily for macrame projects. You can try this technique at home too if you would like to spray it on the non-stiff felt to make it less flimsy. Next, you'll need some decorative sequins to place onto the dark pink heart. You can use any kind of sequins, with holes or without holes. You can use the kind that you sew on or the kind where you can just hot glue it on. And next, you might need this leathering tool. I can't really remember what it's called specifically, but basically it's a tool that you use to punch holes into leather. This tool comes with multiple sizes. I am going to use the smallest size, and you can change the size by just twisting the top piece. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Here I am just using a generic box that I saved from stuff I ordered from Amazon, and I'm going to use this to hold the black felt words XOXO. And I'm going to use that fabric stiffening spray to spray on it. I'm going to wait for a few minutes and then use my Cricut tweezer to gently flip it over to the other side. Then I will spray the other side as well. And after I've sprayed it pretty well, I will set this to the side and finish this project last to give it some time for the fabric spray to work its magic on the felt. Moving along, I am going to take out my scoreboard and I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun. I am using my scoreboard and scoring tool to score a line through these red and light pink felt to fold it over and form it into an envelope. Once I am done scoring the lines and folding them over, I will use my hot glue gun to glue along the top edge of the envelope and hold it down to secure it. Then I will place the cute bows individually onto the envelopes. You can place the bows anywhere you'd like. I just really liked the look of it on the back side of the envelope like this. Lastly, if you have time, I think it would look so cute to take some of that flossing thread and sew along the edge of the envelope to give it some extra cuteness. I didn't do it for this video, but I can already imagine how cute it would look. I did notice that the hot glue can be seen behind the light pink bow, so I decided to place a small amount of hot glue onto the center part of the bow instead of all over on the back before I put it on top of the red envelope. This just makes the bow look much cleaner. When all of my envelopes are complete, I will then use my leathering tool to punch a hole into one of the corners of the envelope. This will depend on how you want your envelopes to hang up. I prefer for it to hang up in this orientation, so I'm going to poke the hole on the top left corner. And the reason why I'm using my leathering tool instead of a regular hole puncher is because I find that it's more powerful. But hey, if your regular hole puncher works, then that works too. And now we're all done with the envelopes and we can move on to the next items. Next, I am going to sew these dark pink hearts. I want to start off by saying that I am a rookie when it comes to sewing, either if it's by hand or sewing with a machine. I am a complete newbie, so no judgment. I have already threaded my flossing thread into my needle, and I am just going to start right off at the top part of the heart, and this is a really simple stitch, so anyone can do this. I start from the bottom and I just keep poking from the bottom going up, leaving about half a centimeter between each holes, if that makes any sense. And I just do this all the way until there's about an inch left on the other side. I will pause there so that I have an opening for me to put my poly-fil inside of it. And what the poly-fil does is it creates a nice dimension for the heart. If you don't have any poly-fil, you can use scrap yarn or old clothing that you don't want anymore. You can fill up the inside with as much poly-fil as you would like. I just took a small piece and then broke it apart into 4 smaller pieces and gently put one small piece in at a time. To secure my thread, I just went back and forth from one side to the other side, and then I went through the hoop, or I went through the loop to make sure that it's secure, and then I took the needle off the thread and I just did a simple knot. I believe I either did that once or twice just to secure it, and then I cut the strings a little bit shorter so that I can tie a simple knot on the top so that it hangs kind of like an ornament. For this next part, I'm going to use my gemstone or rhinestone tool picker here, as well as my hot glue gun. And I am going to make this really simple. I'm just going to use my hot glue and put a little dot on top of the pink heart, and then I'm going to use that tool picker to pick up the sequins to place it on top of that hot glue. And you can put as many as you want on there. You can skip this step if you don't want to add some glam to the heart. It's really up to you. There's so many things you can do with the heart. You can either do embroidery if you like sewing. You can add other types of sequins or glitter or anything you want on there really. But here is how this turned out. It's really cute. I did go ahead and complete the other 3, or the other 2 I meant, and I added more sequins to the top of that original one that I made, and it's super cute and I really loved the way how this looked. You can do both sides, I just did the one side only. And we're almost done. I'm going back to the black felt to double check and make sure that it's dry and that it's a little bit more durable, and it was dry and it does feel like it stiffened up a little bit, so I'm going to take it out of the box and go ahead and complete the look of this XOXO design. I cut out 4 red hearts, and here I was deciding on if I want the heart to go on the back or in the front. Ultimately, I thought it looked much better in the front, so I just put a little bit of hot glue right here on the end of this O, or I meant on the top of the O, and I just placed that heart on top. I just think it added a little bit of cuteness to it, and so I'm going to do this to the rest of the XOXO phrases. Now that I'm done, I am going to take my leathering tool out again, and I'm going to poke a hole on the top corner of this first X, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to hang this onto my garland. So you can again choose whichever orientation you want this to hang. I just like the idea of it hanging from this corner. And finally, we are at the fun part where we get to assemble our garland together. I'm taking out this cord that I bought at Hobby Lobby, and it's just a white cord with some silver around it. And I'm also using these cute little wood beads to add some cuteness to it. I'm sorry, I keep using the word cuteness, but it really is cute. So I'm adding this in first, and then be sure that you measure out how long you want the cord to be and how you want the images to go on the garland. So I had already pre-planned how I want the pattern to look. So I added the 2 beads in first, and then the XOXO, 2 more beads, the pink envelope, 2 more beads, the dark pink heart, 2 more beads, the red envelope, and then the pattern repeats itself. And you can do this as many times as you want. I didn't make this garland really long or really big. I just made it so that it was big enough to fit onto my mantle in my living room. After spreading it out evenly, I finally hung it up on my living room mantle, and this is how it looks. I absolutely loved how this turned out, and I'm so happy to be able to share this fun inspirational idea with you. I hope that this inspires you to also create your own Valentine's garland. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!